What's Going on Seaville was made possible by the donations and services provided by Charlottesville Area Community Foundation, Community Endowment, Hollywood Theater Lab, Lighthouse Studio.
What's Going on, Seaville? I'm your host, Lana Young. We have a very cool show for you tonight. Steve Taylor, director of the Second Street Gallery, is here in the house, and he's going to tell us all about their exhibitions, their outreach, and their 40th anniversary. Congratulations. Well, I was so excited about their 40th anniversary, I decided to pop in and see what was going on. And I just happened to bump into Clay Witt, a cutting-edge artist that is their first artist in residence at the gallery. It's a good thing the Lighthouse Studio crew is tagging along. Let's take a look.
My pieces have a kind of a relief quality to them that's achieved by gilding gesso. It's a technique that's over 1,000 years old, been used by many cultures to create the illusion of solid metal, gold or silver by adhering molecularly thin sheet of gold called gold leaf.
May I touch it?
Yes, please do. Onto a surface of gesso. Gesso is a mixture of a hide glue, an animal glue. It's collagen based, mixed with chalk, or in my case I use marble dust. And when it's heated, it can be painted on in liquid form. But as it dries, it can be carved, polished, but as you can see, it sits up from the surface of the painting,
yes,
which allows me to bring it forward visually. When it's absorbed into the surface of the gesso, it sucks the gold to the surface through capillary action, and when it's dry, I polish it with a burnisher, which
cool.
is a piece of agate. In this case, it's a custom handle.
You did not buy this like that, right?
No, I didn't. I found it in the woods.
That's very cool.
Originally, burnishers were made from the teeth of carnivorous animals, so they're called houndstooth burnishers. Now they're made from polished agate, and this allows me to polish the gesso. And because the gold is such a malleable metal and it's so thinly laid down, while I'm polishing the gesso, I'm polishing the gold as well. It's originally a technique used to suggest gold without going to the expense of
using gold.
Using real gold.
Right.
Now I put a lot of paint on top of the gold, so I obscure it in many different ways. It's not the final surface of the painting, but it allows me to have this reflective surface which catches the light and also catches the movement of the viewer as he or she walks past it.
How did you get that texture?
Well,
or is it a secret?
No, it's not a secret. There are no recipes here. It's just technique and obsessive-compulsive disorder. In this case, I use a little syringe, and I draw some of the gesso up into the syringe and then squirt it out.
Oh my goodness!
As I move the syringe.
So you're adding a layer as opposed to taking something away.
Yes, it's additive. So I'm running the lines in rows, down, to create this suggestion. This is actually an image that I'm working from of a glacier. So it has this very slow flowing quality to it. And when it's finished, I'm using white gold, so it'll have a kind of snowy effect to it once I've put a lot of paint on top of it.
And does that look sort of like a tusk?
Am
I giving it away?
No, not at all. The final image here is going to be a woolly mammoth frozen in a block of glacial ice. So the tusks are sticking out of the ice itself, and you will be able to see the basic form of the mammoth underneath. And these lines here suggest the kind of the facets of the ice as it's been chipped away by time. I'm kind of suggesting a sort of tomb almost, or an oracle, or a place of pilgrimage, I guess.
And I noticed over there you have some sketches, and so do you tend to sketch your work out before you do it?
Almost never.
Oh, interesting.
But in the case of these pieces, I have changed my technique a bit after some issues where I messed up composition. And since it takes me 6 weeks to 2 months to make a painting this size, I have at age 44 realized that I need to do a little more preparation in advance of it. Well, I guess I'm a slow learner.
That's all right. Better late than never.
Yes.
So I see mammoth and I see white gold. Tell me what this is all about.
Well, this painting here is kind of both stylistically and conceptually related to the piece I'm working on in the studio here. As you can see, I have a couple of woolly mammoths here. I'm very interested in animals, not just animals that are around today, but extinct animals as well. But
I love that you have these bursts of light in darkness, and your skies are always so incredibly dramatic. It's like you pick the most dramatic part of the day, or...
Well, day, night, moonlight.
Yeah, moonlight, I love it.
Yeah, I will admit to being dramatic, you know, a little operatic, a little, you know, but I mean, I love the contrast of light and dark, and especially the contrast in moonlight, the way moonlight flattens things out into their silhouettes. And there's also a kind of suggestion of the light one experiences in dreams, where it's not really light and dark as we experience it, but just seeing and not seeing things.
I actually think this is what really happened to the woolly mammoths. Clay Witt's white gold light came down and took them away.
Yeah, they'll be back. They'll be back. Yes.
Welcome to the show, Steve.
Thanks, Lana.
Thank you for coming over.
Happy.
It was a long commute over there from 2nd Street Gallery.
It's almost 60 feet.
Well, thanks for making the trek. So, Steve, 40th anniversary. Mm-hmm. You're the oldest nonprofit contemporary art space in Virginia, Central Virginia, is that correct?
Correct.
That's amazing. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So is Clay Witt, who we just saw a little footage about, was he sort of part of the celebration of the 40th anniversary, having the artist in residence?
Yes, to a degree. I mean, you know, because we were founded in 1973, you know, which is before McGuffey, before the Downtown Mall, you know, before all sorts of things. Because we were founded by working artists and educators, one of the things that we found attractive was the idea of hanging not just great art in the space, but also having a working artist working in the space during the anniversary month. And that's worked out rather well.
I loved it. I thought it was fascinating to have all of his stuff out.
Oh, yeah.
It really gives you some insight on how he works.
Absolutely. Including quite often his baby and his one-eared dog, who we call Vincent.
That's right, the one-eared dog called Vincent. That's funny. Now, is he indicative of the type of art that you like to have in the studio? I mean, do you focus on a specific type of genre?
Yes. I mean, ever since we were established, we've always focused on contemporary art, which is usually defined as the last sort of 30 years or so. So contemporary art and living artists. So because whenever we have a show, we always try and bring the artists to the opening and have them speak about their work at the opening. So it's always contemporary, it's always living artists, and it's as cutting edge as we can be.
That's wonderful. So artists from all over the world or all over America?
Yes, I mean local, regional, national, and occasionally international, yes.
That's fantastic. How do you choose the artists? How are they chosen?
Okay, we have a curator, and she will go to do things like studio visits. She will go to art fairs. We also have an application process, which is online, and people can apply from anywhere. And we have something called the Artist Review Panel, which is a group of local artists, educators, historians, collectors. And they meet a couple of times a year and they review all of the submissions. They review them anonymously. And they rate them basically.
From each other? Anonymously?
No.
Oh.
What they do is they don't know the name of the artist that's applying.
Oh, I see.
So,
okay.
And that takes out any, you know, what might be, you know, favoritism or, you know, knowledge of previous work. So it's a very good way of making sure that we stick to a certain set of principles and a certain standard for the work. And then that, you know, that panel and the curator will report to the curator, who will then look at everything that's been, you know, suggested, presented, and come up with a season for the year. And within that, what we're trying to do is show different kinds of artists, different kind of media, you know, film, sculpture, painting, installation, video, you know, as many different things as we can. We're not trying to just bring one kind of work to town.
That's really exciting for little old Charlottesville.
Not so little anymore.
No, not at all. Very cool. So how many artists are chosen? How many exhibits do you have throughout the year?
Usually somewhere between 10 and 14 a year.
Wow.
Sometimes we'll have one exhibition across both our galleries, or one artist. Other times we might have different shows in the large and small gallery. Sometimes we might have a group show. You know, we might find a group of artists that are working in a similar sort of territory, and that might make for an interesting group show. So in terms of the number of artists, it can be anywhere from sort of 20 to 50, curiously, depending on whether we have a group show.
That's really impressive. And how much time in between each one for takedown and setup? I mean, is it just a constant piece of...
It's, yeah, 6 days maximum, sometimes less than that. It depends on the size and scale of the show.
Right.
Some shows, you know, if it's a video artist, sometimes we just need to set up a projector and run a DVD, but other times, you know, we can have literally dozens of volunteers working day and night to try and get something together.
Speaking of volunteers, you're always looking for volunteers, I take it.
Yes, I mean, we rely...
In different capacities, I'd imagine.
Absolutely, we rely quite heavily on volunteers. We have a small staff. Our board is all volunteers from the community, and they do great work for us. We have volunteers that help out with everything from gallery sitting, which is basically being in the gallery when visitors come. For our, you know, we're very much part of the First Friday program in Charlottesville, so volunteers for that.
And for the gallery sitters, do they get a sort of a little bit of a training to know about the artist? I mean,
yes.
what does that entail?
Well, knowing about the artist, about the show, you know, just where the bathrooms are. I mean, you know, everything, you know, and know to, if they don't have the answer, send them on to a member of staff. So, you know, there's that. There's also sometimes when we're installing a show, we need volunteers. Quite often there we need people that have certain skill sets. Can be people that have hung things before if we've got some very valuable work. If we've got a particularly complicated show with a lot of, you know, computers or wiring or something, we might need people that have those skills. Sometimes we just need people that are really big and strong. Just to move, no, seriously, just move really big, heavy things.
That's great.
So it can depend.
For labor. And do you ever have a shortage of volunteers? Are you always recruiting?
Not too often. I mean, you know, we sometimes get quite a lot from via the university, and so that, you know, when school's out, that can leave us short. But you know, we have lots of people in town we can call on.
Great. And so you said UVA. You also offer internships. Is that right? What are the requirements for someone if they want to be an intern or interested in being an intern? Okay.
We operate through we work with the University Intern Program, the UIP, and we usually take 2 interns a year through the UIP. And usually it's people that have an interest in art or art history. We're increasingly interested in people that have, you know, skill sets like social media and marketing and things like that, because, you know, there's other things we need to get into, and also, you know, people that are interested in things like community outreach, because that's something else we do a lot of.
Right. Let's talk about some of your outreach programs. You have several outreach programs. Can you tell me a little bit about the Family Art Day, and there was something else, the Educator Workshop?
Educators Workshop, yeah. Yes, I mean, aside from our general outreach, where we take artists into the public schools and work with the Boys and Girls Clubs to do various art projects, which are always fun. And
do you do that at the Boys and Girls Club? Do you go to them, or do they come to you?
We do both. We've had sessions where we go to them. We always work with an artist, with the clubs, and with the schools. With the schools, we go to them, usually, although we do school tours as well. With the Boys and Girls Club, I mean, sometimes we've done some recent programs where, for instance, we set up a printing press in the gallery, so they could come over and actually learn how to use a printing press.
How did they take that? Did they receive that well? Were they so excited about that?
You could get really messy, and B,
which all kids love.
I think they were quite surprised at just how much effort's involved in actually turning a full-size press.
And did they have something to take with them at the end?
Yeah, everybody made something, and so everybody got a takeaway. And we did a mask making workshop with local artist Russell Richards, which was huge fun.
Oh yes, Russell.
We've done glass blowing with Chip Hall over at McGuffey. So, you know, we're trying to find things that are not just you know, painting and drawing, but are things that can activate the imagination.
Yes.
And they were well. But sorry, to go back to your question, Family Art Day is a free day of art making we do every year, open to everybody. And last year we had, I think, 340 people in the gallery from ages 2 to probably 92, and you know, they do all sorts of projects, painting, you know, all sorts of things. We usually have some music and some refreshments, so that's fun. And
Good family building stuff.
yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Bonding.
And you know, a lot of grandparents come with kids, and it's just chaos, but it's huge fun. And we do a thing called the Educators Workshop, which is a partnership with the VMFA in Richmond and the Piedmont Council for the Arts here. And that is a program specifically for teachers.
That's wonderful.
Usually art teachers, and they get credits for it.
Oh, that's great.
And we run it in the gallery each year. You know, it's great fun.
Let me ask you about that, because I know that when budgets are cut for schools, a lot of the time it's in the art department. So the educators must be very grateful for that, to be able to take is it new techniques they're taking back to the schools? Or?
It's usually, the program is usually focused on a particular subject. So it might be portraiture, it might be landscape, it might be all sorts of things. And it's, as I say, it's taught by somebody from the VMFA, a guy called Jeffrey Allison, who's terrific. And so it's designed to give teachers some physical things they can take back into the classroom.
That's great.
Some teaching aids are included, I think. So there's that, and you know, and we find when we go into classes, and we do stuff at every level. We do stuff from kindergarten all the way through to 12th grade. You know, we've done things from very simple model making all the way through to sort of Photoshop programs with photographers in town and things like that. So it's at every level.
Very cool. And then I saw something on your website about some public art. Was that the...
Yes, we do a public art project each year, and with that, what we do
love
is,
that idea.
Yeah, it's cool. And we find, you know, we usually take one of our exhibiting artists, and we try and partner with a school, quite often it's high school students, and we'll work on something in town outside the gallery. I think it's a good idea for us to occasionally get out the space and into town. We've done some things where we've built things on the mall, we've built something on the roof of this building.
Do you have to get special permission for that?
Yes, yes, and the city's great. You know, the city helps and supports us, so we're delighted about that. It depends a bit on what we're doing.
That's fantastic.
But yeah, no, it's a fun program.
So you're involved in the community a lot?
Yes.
Lots of support. That's
Yes.
wonderful. So you are an artist yourself.
Yes.
And you also won several awards when you were in the advertising field.
On the dark side.
What is your vision as director? You became the director of the gallery in 2011.
Yes.
What is your vision? Did you bring one to the table?
Whoa. Yeah.
No pressure.
No pressure at all. Yeah. No, I've been involved with the gallery for about 10 years. I started off as a volunteer helping to hang exhibitions, and then was eventually asked to be on the board. So I've been involved for quite some time. And what I love about the gallery is I think it does bring something different to town. I think it has from the beginning. And it's bringing work to town that might not otherwise get seen here. You know, if we were completely reliant on sales, for example, as a commercial gallery is, we would not necessarily be bringing the artists we bring to town. The advantage of being a non-profit is that we can bring different things to town that aren't governed by sales or reliant on sales. But in terms of vision, I mean, you know, I think we're very much part of quite a well-developed arts and culture scene now, and it's one of the things that makes Charlottesville such a great place to live, visit, work and learn. And I think what we can do is bring some things that are perhaps a little more out there. I think we can bring, you know, things to town that you might sometimes only see in bigger cities, for example. I mean, I had somebody walk in the other day, and literally walked in the doors of the gallery and say, I think I'm in New York, you know what I mean? And that feels quite good.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we need to be, you know, conscious of the fact that we are in Charlottesville. So, you know, we say in our vision that you know, there's two sort of main verbs in there. There's to be vibrant, and you know, that's all about bringing work that is interesting, thought-provoking, sometimes shocking. You know, that's part and parcel of what we do. Not everybody's going to be comfortable with it.
Right.
And that's part of the point. I don't love everything we show. I shouldn't. If I was comfortable with everything, then we probably weren't doing it right.
That's what I love about art, though.
Yeah.
Is that you know, you don't know whether you're going to like it or not, but you can't keep it away from people because of that.
Yeah, I mean, and I think, you know, we do have shows that are very beautiful.
Yes.
You know, I mean, Clay's show is a very beautiful show. I mean, it's beautiful work. Other times we're going to have shows that you're going to come in and go, I'm not quite sure what's going on here. But if you spend some time with it and you think, oh, I get it, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes we'll be doing that. And other times people will just come in and go, whoa, you know what I mean? I mean, just...
outside their scope, their realm.
And, you know, and it may be things that just encourage people to just see something a little differently or think about something a little differently. I mean, you know, I think it's kind of food for the soul as much as...
And that's what it's all about, isn't it?
Yeah, I think up to a point, yeah.
Yeah. Do you see a good cross-section of people come into the gallery?
Yes.
I mean, I know we're trying to reach people.
Yeah, I mean, we have quite a few regulars, which is great. You want people coming back. I think, you know, certain shows you're going to get more younger people come in, certain shows you might get fewer of those. It varies by every show. I mean, we've had some openings recently where we've had some quite different people on First Friday, which is a good indicator for me, because, you know, there are a lot of people that go out and do First Fridays around town.
Right.
And we've been seeing quite a lot of new faces in the gallery, and that's always good.
Do you think that has anything to do with the fact that the exhibitor or the artist speaks, interacts?
Yes.
Because they do a bit of a presentation, don't they, of
yes.
their...
I mean, every First Friday, you know, usually at 6:30, there'll be a talk by the artist that's showing in the gallery. And, you know, some artists are very comfortable talking about their work, and others are really not.
Yeah.
And so, you know, usually myself and the curator will talk a little bit about
help facilitate the
conversation. I have to usually thank, you know, we get sponsorship, we get a lot of in-kind gifts for these things. So obviously it's important that we thank those people. And but, you know, Clay talks a lot about his technique, for example, which is very
interesting,
you know. So yeah, but that's an important part of it for us. It is about access to not just the art but the artists too.
Yeah, it's very brave and bold, I think, the gallery. I love that. I love that we have access to that in Charlottesville. Yeah. I think it's really important. Well, Clay will be finishing up in the next couple of days, so who will you have next? Okay.
In March, we have 2 exhibitions coming. We have, in the main gallery, we have Sculptor, and a kind of interesting take on almost classical sculpture, which I think is going to be interesting. And then in the small gallery at the back, we have a video artist coming. And I'm going to be quite interested to see people's reaction, because it's a kind of a slightly odd, well, certainly one of the pieces is a really odd take on making out, for want of a better word. So I'll be quite interested to see what happens there. But it's quite thought-provoking.
I'll have to come by. So that's a video installation.
Yep.
That'll be very interesting. And everybody can find that on your website, right? Do you want to share with us how people can find information?
Oh, yeah. The website's the most obvious place, www.secondstreetgallery.org. Second Street Gallery, all one word. We're on Facebook. If you want to friend us, please do.
Excellent. We love social media.
Yeah, and Twitter. We're on there. And we have a little Vimeo page. Not many videos on there yet, but we're looking to build that up. Or just call us.
Yeah, great.
You know, we're usually in the listings, in the publications. You know, you can always call us and just get information. We're open Tuesday through Saturday, 11 until 6.
That's fantastic. And you mentioned videos, and I would like to take us out on a special time-lapse video that Billy Hunt created for you. Do you want to just introduce that a little bit before I say goodnight?
We had a show last year by a Spanish artist called Daniel Canagar, and it's kind of these huge light-based sculptural installations, and we knew it was going to be it was a huge installation for us. It was, we logged 460 hours with staff, artists and volunteers over 6 days.
Wow.
And we had to do all sorts of things with the space that are unusual, like, you know, covering all the windows, building new walls, getting new projection equipment, installing all sorts of stuff. And we just thought this is a great opportunity to see what happens behind the scenes. So Billy Hunt, local photographer and videographer, and now DJ, came in and shot this lovely time-lapse video. And basically it's 6 days in the life of the gallery in about 4 minutes.
Wonderful. Well, we're going to show that. And
Great.
Steve, thank you so much for
Thank
coming
you.
by. You're
Enjoyed
wonderful.
it.
Thanks for everything you bring to Charlottesville. And thank you for watching another episode of What's Going on Seville and supporting kids making television with Lighthouse Studio. Enjoy the video. We'll see you next time.
There's a big white ghost in your brain. It's always on time, it's always the same. But after 35 seconds, it's the same. It turns over, turns over, turns over, turns over, turns. He's Gotham is the city for the saints. I'll attend the service from my cover for the service philosophy. She knows that it's the same. And she knows that she knows that she knows that she knows that. But you're crazy, so let you know. Oh, the crazy, so let you know. The crazy, so let you know. Oh, the crazy, so let you know. Yes, I tripped the system for the save. It cost nearly nothing. I was better for the pushing the goose stains down all the same. I can't believe they wanted you. I can't believe they wanted you. Rabbit, rabbit, said the lady to the same. Oh, has she grown up? I see that you're grown up. But it's the chip that don't save. Smash the pretty penny, but the pretty penny just won't save. But you're crazy, so let you know. Oh, the crazy, so let you know. The crazy, so let you know. Oh, the crazy, so let you know. Now that the price are gone, far, far more seconds till you know